Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present a TNA we conducted recently in, I think it was June. And it was a joint TNA with 4 partners, so it was somehow cross-linked. It was a TNA with partners from Y4S1 from Barcelona. Gerard and Po are also here, and they are also about to present some slides about the TNA. Then we had some guys from Conic Lab or Conic Theater here. They're also from Barcelona. They are very active in the field of latest technology and performing arts, and also some representatives from the Inter-University Center for Dance from Berlin. So you see, it was very much about art, about performance, and we applied our technologies in from our side. It was from the field of immersive visualization, immersive content creation, and the Y4S1 guys, they incorporated their network expertise into the TNA. And before I start with the presentation of the TNA, I just like to remind you about what our facility provides. So what we basically have is a virtual reality environment. We call it Virtual Reality Solution Center. We have a cave, 5-sided cave, which we also used in this TNA. It has 2.5 meters edge length and use active stereo. We also have some other visualization devices or environments like a HoloBench. We are very good in haptic interaction, so we have a couple of sensible devices, but also self-developed devices. We are using optical tracking systems. In our case, we used an AR tracking system with 6 cameras, and also PC-based rendering cluster with NVIDIA Quadro-FX technology. And what we also offer, which we did not use in this TNA, but which we could use in some other TNAs, we still have 3 to deliver, is the ICI2 platform. Here you see all the modules of the ICI2 platform. So this is an engineering-based or engineering-oriented software, which if you want to do a TNA, you could use and solve some engineering tasks. Another core system which we are using in our environment or in our solutions is the Tangible Use Interface framework, which we are also developing as part of the JRAs, the Visionair JRAs in Action Work Package 9, Action 5. This framework was released as open source at GitHub. You will find it at the mentioned URL. And this framework we also used in this TNA because it makes it very easy for us to integrate physical devices or tracking targets into the VR environment. For example, we can very easily switch between the targets. We can very easily switch between tracking technologies, and I'd like to promote this framework whenever I can. So also here, if you are interested, go and have a look. It gives you lots of possibilities in order to integrate your devices, in order to achieve an abstraction layer, which makes it very easy to develop your own physically enriched virtual reality applications. This software also has a GUI, which allows you to configure the entire thing. And in our case, we have developed some tangible interfaces, which you might already know because I already presented them in the last presentation I gave. These are some tangible interfaces which allow you to draw into 3D space. This is a stylus which you can press, and then some virtual ink is being extruded from the tip of the stylus. Also some other tools which allow you to draw Bezier curves, or a snapping tool which allows you to grasp and move objects. And part of the functionalities which those tools provide, they are also used in this TNA. So Our main application, our focus in application-wise is in immersive modeling. That means we are using the virtual environment to create 3D content for engineering purposes, but also for other purposes like arts, like design. And what I would like to do is I would like to show you a little video about what our environment is capable to do in general. So this is the framework we just saw. This is the graphical user interface of the framework. Here you have all the physical devices on the left side, and you can also incorporate new devices. You just have to write a very easy abstraction layer. It's very easy to try, like a driver, to include your device into our framework. And then you have on the right side, you just saw them briefly, you have the physical objects. For example, this could be an target which is attached to a pen, or a target which is attached to a limb of a user. On our case, we attached some targets also to some wireless mice, so we could very easily integrate them in the interactive scenario. And what you see here is the basic sketching application, where we use an optical tracking system to track the hand of the user, or the pen the user's holding with his hands, and the signal, the button press signal, is transmitted with a wireless protocol to a dedicated server, which can track a couple of objects. And now what we like to show you, the capabilities of our system, that it's very easy for us to switch the tracking system from an optical-based tracking system to, in our case, a gaze tracking system. We also included a gaze-based interaction system into ours. This is infrared based, so you have some small tiny cameras which are incorporated into the shutter glasses for the VR visualization, and you have two small cameras which track the gaze or the eyes of the user and calculate a ray which defines the view of sight of the user. And what we are doing now is that what we say is that the pen should not be controlled by the hand anymore, so by the optical tracking system which tracks the stylus, but by the gaze of the user. And that's what we are achieving here. We switched from the optical tracking system to the gaze-based tracking system. We are doing some matrix transformations because we have to align the cave space and the eye tracking space, and we have to define in which direction the ink should appear, seen from the eye or taken from the eye of the user. Because it's just a ray, we have no end of the ray, so we define that it should appear in 700 millimeters away from the user. Now we save everything, we export it, and now we can control the entire system not by the pen. I'm still holding the pen because I have to press the start and the stop button, but now I'm controlling the drawing with my eyes. So this shows you how easy it is to use our framework in such an interactive VR setup, and that we can easily incorporate new devices and new technologies and enrich our VR scenarios. So this is the core of what we are using and what we are usually applying in our TNAs. And in this TNA, we were dealing, as I said, with live dance performances, and we also added a certain one of the core features, or one of the core aspects of this TNA was also that the live content which was created by the performer was transmitted over the internet with a high bandwidth to Barcelona and back to Berlin, which allowed, in theory, or which allows to have a remote audience and also a feedback from the remote audience to the remote performer. So with this, where Conic Lab is very strong in the use of interactive technology and incorporates it into artistic projects like performances, concerts, installations, and so on. They are very successful and very well known, not only in Spain, and they also already had a couple of cooperations also with I2CAT and other technology providers. So they are searching for new languages for contemporary creation, new languages of impression, new means for merging real and virtual content, for finding new visual expression, new visual languages in that field, and also trying to facilitate the communication between the performer and the audience, be it locally, be it remote. And of course, all kinds of multimedia or interactive contents are being used in their installations. Also, we had people from the HZT. HZT is called Inter-University Center for Dance. Das Hochschule für Schauspiel, Kunst, Ernst Busch, Berlin, hochschulübergreifendes Zentrum Tanz in German. And this is basically a cooperation between the Berlin University of the Arts, UDK, and the Hochschule für Schauspielkunst, which is University for Acting, also in Berlin, and they both collaborate, and they formed a new inter-university center in 2006. And this is federally funded and is very well known also not only in Berlin but in entire Germany and beyond. So the focus of the HZT is that they are looking for creative means or new means to address or to investigate what dance can do in society, or what dance is can be further developed, and which new means or new forms of dance and choreography can be formed and redefine the entire genre. It's also about reflection on what current society is about and about the culture, and they are also, of course, working with media, like to achieve new performance-based arts methods, and also to provide new feedback in the artistic processes for the performer. Then was also I2CAT with us, and here I'd like to hand over to Gerard to introduce I2CAT.
I'm working on the I2CAT Foundation. We are centered in Barcelona. We are a research center of research and innovation, working on items like future internet, open innovation environment, technological development, and living labs. We founded a foundation with the triple helix that we mentioned in the past presentation of the other conducted TNAs. That this foundation is related with the universities, public administration, and private companies, and we have the opportunity to work and have access to international advanced infrastructures. I2CAT Foundation innovation projects are developed within a cluster organization framework involving companies and institutions who perform their activity within the same sector or share similar innovation goals. And concretely, I'm working in, as the arrow is showing, in the audiovisual unit, and we work on media content delivery, transcoding media contents, real-time production and realization, and this kind of media technologies. Concretely, I am the responsible in the I2CAT side for the ultra-grid development, and this all the related developments on the media delivery, media content delivery.
The aims of our Tna were to, as I already said, to investigate what kind of, or how cutting edge technology can bring can bring new means or new expressive possibilities to culture and performing arts, and specifically in the field of contemporary dance, body expression, and so advanced visualization systems. The project was set up between Berlin and Barcelona, so between Ipk in Berlin and I2CAD in Barcelona, and I2CAD experimented with several network configuration, and we had Ipk together with Conic Lab and HZT experimented with the production of the live content and the parameters of the productions. And we had artists from Conic Lab here and one from HZT, and we were supported by the I2CAD, and they basically provided everything, all the recording and the transmission technology. And we, from the Ipk side, we developed everything which belonged to the content creation and to the mapping of the movements to the content creation. And the challenges of this study were how can we generate the content, how can we meet the artistic purposes or the demands of the artists, and we also wanted to experiment with how we can distribute the content remotely, and how can we capture the data from a 3D environment and send it remotely to a remote location. And also we wanted to experiment with, for example, different perspectives. How can we set up the cameras? How many targets can we track? How many different sources for the content creation process can be used? And also the network typology were varied. I2CAD will say something about it later on. And also what happens to the entire process if some remote partner is incorporated, and what happens with the feedback, and how does the feedback influence the performance. So here you see a setup of the entire system. So we had our cave here, which used the content creation software on all our tracking facilities inside the cave, and then we had a performer which was not a classic performer, it was more contemporary, and a couple of cameras, and I think the entire branch here can also be explained by I2CAD.
So as you may see, we use it in this experimental distributed realization scenario. We use it two nodes. One was here where my colleague Johan is in the Fraunhofer Ipk inside the cave with the artist Conic. And we were using three cameras, three different type of cameras. One was a web camera, the other was a handy camera, and the other was a professional one. We used a link. We tried to use the more realistic scenario of commercial link possible in order to improve also all the technologies related of the media content delivery. And this was the ultra. The other node that was receiving and resending by transcoding and recording the stream was in Barcelona. As you may see in the description, the direct description in the legend, we were using different types of connections too, HDMI by capturing through the DEC link, SDI through the DEC link too, and those first computers were creating an RTSP server. this server was called for the third computer that was using the RTSP client that we have developed in order to be switching between these two inputs and the USB camera connected inside this third computer. How we controlled the switching? This was a command line interface developed also between CESNet, that was the principal developers and the principals of the utility responsibility. So we were able to do remote switching and remote translating thanks to this command line interface. Okay, what we did was concretely capturing with different types of configurations, giving the opportunity to the realizer and the director to switch between their interest and their point of view of interest to focus on the performance, and then by sending it to the AutoCAD facilities, recording it and real-time resending to giving a local feedback inside the cave. This was between a delay around 100 milliseconds, and this was a really successful achievement. At technical level, as I'm saying, we have used, we have improved and we have tested the RTSP server and client module that we have implemented. Also, we have used the switcher capture and remote control translating. And also, we have been using the H.264 real-time reconfiguration that is also a module implemented inside the user. At the user level, the features that we have given for this experiment was to give input and capture flexibility, giving also feedback display for the realizer, giving the opportunity to test RTP broadcasting with a unicast connection, so retransmitting not only to the local feedback, to have local feedback, but also to any kind of audience that have the opportunity to give the opportunity to view it at real time too. And also we tested the performance recording service. So at the end we tested a small but scalable distributed and decentralized realization infrastructure.
As I said in the beginning, we used the cave. I don't have to say anything about it because I already talked about it. And how did we do the creation of the 3D content? So we used optical tracking targets which we attached to the hands or to the limbs of the dancer. We also implemented a kind of flow function which allowed to move the object constantly on along a predefined path through the 3D environment. So this was a feature for the content creation. And also this created some rhythm in it. You will see it in a second. And we also experimented with scaling and rotation and all those possible mappings. We tried to experiment with the mapping of the limbs of the user, of the performer, to the 3D content creation. And I think it's better if I show you a video about what we had at the end. So this is, I hope you can see it. This is one of the first stages. So we gave the performer some targets, some tracking targets, and constantly created 3D geometry at the position of their limbs, or here at the position of the targets. And the new objects were created every 10 milliseconds or 20 milliseconds, and the old objects were removed after, I think, after 1 second or so. So that's created an interesting rhythm on an interesting visualization. And this is another result. Here we used we played with scaling and also with the flow. So the the position of the hands of the user were both used to position the objects, but also to scale them and to yeah. And what we turned off was rotation. So we found out that if you would take the rotation of the limbs of the performer, then it would create too much noise or disturb the visual appearance too much. So that's why we decided only to take the position and the scale in this kind of visualization. I think at the end we developed 8 different visual languages or 8 different mappings in a discussion process with the artists. So we provided the mapping, and they discussed with us what they like, what they don't like, which one we chose, which one we did not follow on anymore. And so we had 8 different mappings or 8 different performing technologies at the end, at the final presentation. So we had a final presentation at the last day of the TNA in our institute, where we had approximately 15 people in the audience, and the other people were watching from Barcelona. Let's go to the conclusions. Here we can also start with AutoCAD.
So our conclusions at the technical level were that we realized improvements during this Tna, and as we have showed in the last slides, at technical level we improved the RTSP server and the RTSP client in order to give more detailed and loading characteristics like different type of resolutions, different type of codecs, and so on. Then we improved also the switching capturer in order to improve the transition between different compressed image. And we saw that we required working at intra-K frame detection, and also we improved the H.264. So we improved it because we were using this codec, we were using the H.264 codec, and we also improved the reconfiguration, the real-time reconfiguration of the H.264. Also, we have seen future works and next steps that are going on improving and developing such improvements to do during this TNA. And at a user level, we saw that we can improve to create an easy to deploy and easy to scale infrastructure. And this was also the intention from the I2CAD side, in order to find, let's say, low-cost infrastructures and easy to create for any kind of user that has and give the opportunity to create real-time content. Also, to improve the user experience, we thought that it's really important to use setup scripts, executables, and graphical user interfaces in order to improve the quality of the experience of the user and to facilitate the deployment of external technicians. So, as a main conclusion for the technical work and the continued working that we are developing and we are doing, and thank you to this TNA, we continue seeing that to achieve better products, better prototypes, and better development, we really require the testing and development cycle. This means end user feedback.
The conclusions from our side were that we could test the feasibility of creating live 3D content for a performance in a 3D environment. So that was the first time that we used the cave in an artistic scenario, and that we created 3D geometry based on postures, and we learned that we have the technical set up and that we are capable of, from a technical point of view, create live 3D content, and also that we were able to get into a dialogue with the artists and with the technicians, and that we were able to find a common language, and that we were able to satisfy what the artists wanted from us and to satisfy the requirements from the artists. However, we must say that we could not. We had at the beginning we had severe technical problems, so we could have done much more if that technical problems would not have appeared. But we were very lucky that at the end we came to the point that everybody was satisfied with the results. So also the software developer, basically me, I can describe the process as very productive, and that it was only due to the setup that the artists were present, and that we have had that interactive dialogue, that we came to the results that we just presented. So I myself would never have been able to create such a or to develop those visual languages. So the input from the artist was very much necessary and very critical. So yeah, this is and the final conclusion is that we can say that the cave can be used as an artistic medium, that we have the interactive possibilities to develop live 3D content, and that it's an area which can be explored more in the future, from the visualization side, from the interaction side, from the mapping side, and of course also from the distribution of the content remotely and with high bandwidth.
I will have just one single technical question, because I saw in one side that you used a 50 megabytes bandwidth connection. Was it enough? And can you tell us a little bit more about what was expected for this kind of streaming? Do we need to secure more bandwidth, or is it just okay, it worked fine with these experiments? Did you make some analysis before in order to validate this bandwidth?
Yes, maybe I can go on this response. Okay, what we were using, we could achieve at least 2,200 megabits per second, but we preferred using only 50 megabits link in order to work with and test also the real-time constraints. As I said, we reached a whole transmission of going and return of around 100 milliseconds, and this was measured. And this was by the fact that we were only transmitting one stream at the end. Locally there were 3 streams, but only switched to one of them. This was the realization work of the performance.